So Hedera is known for many things, but one sector that they truly haven't tapped into yet is DeFi. Now, yes, there are famous protocols on the Hedera network like Saucer Swap, Stater Labs, Healy Swap, but up until now, you can consider them as just being isolated to the Hedera ecosystem. Well, see, in 2021, a certain company by the name of Chainlink Labs joined Hedera's governing council. And in the last few months, oh boy, they decided to make the work that they have been brewing, cooking up behind the scenes, known to all of us. Guys, reading from Ginfinity.io, love these guys. Hedera adopts Chainlink data standards to propel DeFi and real-world asset tokenization. I can't wait to share the information that I have with you guys, because if you're new to the space, you're probably unaware of the long-standing relationship between Hedera and Chainlink. And now that Chainlink is incorporating its technology into the Hedera DLT, things are going to get real fun for us HBAR holders. Now, before we get into this good, let me introduce myself. My name is Wade. You're listening to another edition of the DHN Crypto Podcast. I've been in this space since 2019, and I've literally researched over 1,000 digital assets. The only reason I sit here now is to share all that information with you. And all I ask in return is that you hit that like button. Not for me, though. Got to do it for Hedera. Let's do it for crypto, usually. But I like to keep it specific. We'll drop one down for Hedera or Chainlink. If you're holding Chainlink, because I know Chainlink holders, y'all up. Proud of y'all. Proud of y'all. So, Hedera adopts Chainlink data standards to propel DeFi and real-world asset tokenization. Let's dive into this, guys. Really just going to highlight this top portion here because that's the most important piece that you need to know. Hedera takes a major step forward in decentralized finance and real-world asset tokenization with its integration of Chainlink's data feeds and proof of reserve. This adoption brings tamper-proof, high-quality data to the Hedera ecosystem, empowering developers to build secure, transparent, and innovative applications. So what we have is Chainlink's data feeds and proof of reserve technology coming to Hedera. What this means is that now Hedera will be able to make use of Chainlink's data feeds the same way that all 18 of these networks. I wish they had a better visual, but you can see the list here, and they've already added Hedera's mainnet. Now, there was another announcement out of the HBAR Foundation back in October that talked about Hedera joining, or the HBAR Foundation joining Chainlink Scale program that originally saw this tested on Hedera's testnet. With this announcement, we now see things have moved on to the mainnet, and now it's really going to start cooking. But alongside Hedera, you'll see some other names on here: Celo, Ethereum, Base, Avalanche, Arbitrum, Polygon, and a few other Ethereum layer 2s. You got Moonbeam and Moonriver from the Polkadot ecosystem. But what I want you to understand is, and you'll see this right away when you look at the price charts for those other assets, it's enormous, especially when you look at the total value locked. I looked at Base. I was going to pull up Base's total value locked to give you a comparison. TVL on Hedera as of this morning is roughly under 200 million. I want to say 189 million. Base clocked in at 1.5 billion yes, when I looked at this number. So I feel like that comparison was too large, but even still, it gives you the idea of what happens when a network adopts Chainlink. Now, there's another layer to this story that we're going to break into in just a minute. But they also talked about the proof of reserves, which actually Ginfinity provides a pretty great clip that will be in this article. This outlet, Ginfinity, is in the DHN starter kit. So all you got to do is just check them out, guys. It'll be right at the top, and you'll be able to watch that clip. We have another clip to review, so we won't play that one right now. But I do want to share this sentence here that truly emphasizes the importance of this relationship. DeFi applications rely heavily on accurate real-time data for operations like lending, borrowing, trading, and stablecoin issuance. Hedera Stablecoin Studio, anyone? Chainlink data feeds provide Hedera developers with a robust foundation for creating advanced financial products such as decentralized exchanges, automated market makers, and lending protocols. So when I opened, I said it was an untapped market for Hedera, decentralized finance, not that many protocols truly on the network that have reached outside. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking Saucer Swap because check out this new website. Okay, good job, guys. Good job. I've been watching y'all for a minute. There's actually an episode on the channel where I go through a Hedera DeFi guide and we learn a bit more about all of these different protocols. But what you can expect to happen now is that prior to the Chainlink integration, a lot of the data was Hedera based. So protocols like Saucer Swap and another one here, Bonzo Finance, this is your lending and borrowing protocol on Hedera. The data that they had to use was, like I said, it was isolated, strictly Hedera based. What happens when a network incorporates Chainlink's data feeds? They're getting that outside data. So now, in theory, a DeFi application, a Bonzo, a Saucer Swap, could bring in the data from Chainlink's data feeds across all of the other networks that it's connected to. So we're talking data from Ethereum, data from Base, data from Avalanche. And I can imagine that it can all be distributed across all of the DeFi applications on Hedera. Shout out to Dovu too. They've been rallying recently. But outside of decentralized finance, guys, and again, just to emphasize my point here, with the added functionality coming from Chainlink's data feeds as well as the proof of reserves, because that's another important layer to your decentralized finance ecosystem. You got to be able to prove that the money that you're moving around is actually there. This should allow all of these protocols to then improve on what they offer. That is what I am imagining, because that is what happened with Avalanche, with Base, with Celo, and other protocols that it brought in Chainlink into their network. But on the other side of the DeFi discussion, we also have the topic of real-world asset tokenization, which, again, it's important to have those real-world data feeds, that real-world data, as well as the ability to prove your reserves. So that makes sense, right? When it talks about real-world tokenization, you got to look at some of the larger scale projects that is building on Hedera. For example, this one here, Red Swan. Now, I can't wait to take a weekend and really dig into this company, because last year they were able to tokenize a $4 billion real estate portfolio. That's insane. And all of this, as you'll learn if you look into Red Swan, is running on Hedera's DLT. So again, to highlight the adoption model here, Red Swan, independent entity, the third party, is using the DLT, which is Hedera, in their tech stack to create a product that tokenized a $4 billion real estate portfolio. And then we also have a newer addition to the ecosystem in the form of Zonix. And we have a clip here. Absolutely amazing, right? Where we have a gentleman from Zonix. He's doing an interview. And what he's going to explain to you is the process of setting up on a network your RWA platform. But I want you to hear just how fast this all can happen.
And we can do things, and there's infighting. And what I think is, like, let's just look at this as a tool, because nobody complains about using
this whole conversation is great, by the way. I will put a link to this video in the show notes in the description.
AT&T versus Verizon, except in terms of, like, how much the cost is. And so that's really, delivering a superior product versus I really don't care about the technology behind it.
You're right, absolutely. I mean, it's. I mean, why I explained you
Here we go.
this is,
Yeah.
it's nothing because I can understand it. It's fairly difficult to understand for the common man in terms of these lingos and this, this whole understanding about so many blockchains. I mean, they shouldn't be knowing about all this. I mean,
Right.
it's the simple thing is that okay, they want to they have an issuance of say $20 million building, which they would like to kind of raise around $10 million. They have
Right.
a private equity, they have their own share, and now they want to kind of raise $10 million. Whether how do they use a simple platform and make it as a Reg D 506 all to accredited investors primary issuance available, right? That's the only thing they should be knowing it.
Yeah.
And we simplify that. We simplify that. We just have to tell them, hey, okay, this is what you have. You just take this platform. You can be up and running in 48 hours. You have your PPM. You have your operating agreement done. Just push that to us, and then we can be ready in 48 hours. That's
But
what they need to know.
I still want to stress the fact that most tech guys that I deal with don't give this type of thought to serving the end customer. It's more about, oh, this tech is cool and we're doing it just because it's cool. I mean, what you just described, the degree of difficulty is like in the Olympics, the number 10 type of dive, and you guys have solved that problem. So that is very
Yeah,
impressive. That is
appreciate
very
that.
impressive.
Thank
So
you. Thank you.
if I wanted to issue, let's say, a resort property, because we're looking at issuing a resort property, one in Colombia and also one in Uruguay, um, what would be the process to list it with Zonix and going through that? And
Yeah.
my other question is could I white label that so that I could create a landing page, do all my marketing, feed it through, and then, it just works in terms of capital raising?
Yeah, we actually do the second thing. We don't have our own platform, right, Michael? I mean, we do it for you. So basically, and it's a very simple thing, right? You have you identified the asset. You know
Right.
how much it is going to cost. It's around say just for example, $10 million, right? And then you want to raise the entire $10 million. What we do is we just simply go. First of all, you need to decide which jurisdiction you want to issue the tokens. Whether it's
Mhm.
going to be Colombia, whether it's going to be US, all of this, right? You need to know the jurisdiction. Once you know the jurisdictions, we can tell you that, okay, we have certain partners who could help you out, to actually, kind of tell you whether it's going to be, if it is in Colombia, then what could probably be the security regulations in there. If it is in US, then we could tell you the security regulations in the US as well. Once that is done, it's simply 2 days or 3 days to get the PPM done. And
Yeah.
after the PPM and the operating agreement's done, it comes to Zonex, and Zonex actually pushes this whole issuance on chain in 48 hours. It's completely up to you which chain you need to work with, whether it's EVM you want or it's non-EVM, or we want a permission chain, which is like Hyperledger or Fabric or Visus, whichever chain you want, you just have to select that, and we can push on that particular chain, and you will be up and running in 48 hours. Once you do that, once you issue those primary issuance tokens, then you do your marketing as well, or you could probably we can connect you with multiple the buy side networks. It could be ATS, or decentralized exchanges like Voices Pro or
Right.
INX in the US, or ADTX in Singapore, or Archix in UK. So
Right.
we have multiple of these, kind of strategic partners.
Archax in the UK. We jumped in a bit early, but like I said, that's a heck of a conversation. It's about 50 minutes long. Definitely worth it though. But what he emphasized was just how fast, from their end, they can get you up and running with with a real world asset platform. You can pick any network that you want to use, whether it's EVM compatible or not. So that would include, obviously, Hedera, as well as the other networks that Zonix has been recruiting. This also includes Ripple. Can't wait to see the headline, Zonix and stellar development, but hey, we can dream, right? Now, I also liked how he talked about getting your product to exchanges alongside Archax. Did you hear how he mentioned they have the plug with INX here in the United States? These are regulated securities platforms, ladies and gentlemen. These regulated securities platforms are giving the go ahead for RWA platforms that are operating on DLTs such as Hedera or Ripple, and Zonix is essentially encasing the entire product for you in less than 48 hours, with the addition of the 3 to 5 days to get your paperwork in order. That's why I said when in my notes here, I'm like, this can be up and running in less than a week. Fascinating. So that would be the consumer facing side. That would be how it would look if, we were on the business end of this and we just wanted to get everything set up. But let's talk a little bit more technical, the build perspective. This is something I stumbled upon. Well, me and the team stumbled upon. The team and I, sorry for that grammar there. Fair ordering, one of the most underrated features on Hedera. This was posted on Reddit a month ago in Hedera's Reddit. And what it describes is a function. So they go into talking about, well, it's really this comment here that described it perfectly. Shout out to Perfect Ability 1190. You sure had the perfect ability to explain this to us. So fair order means even if a transaction receives fair access, so the node to which it was sent promptly submitted it to the network without bias or delay, a DLT might have the possibility that the transaction will be inappropriately and unfairly recorded as being received later than it actually arrived through the determination of the consensus order in step 3 of the basic transaction process. So what they're talking about is in a typical linear blockchain setup where it goes, easy way to describe this, A, B, C, D. There is the potential to get in front of the A to B transaction or the B to C transaction. So that way, by the time it gets to D, it's got all the wrong information. That makes me think of a 51% attack. It also makes me think of one of the threats that quantum computing actually poses to blockchain. But it goes on to talk about how with the Hashgraph, which, that's the core component for Hedera, it elects no leader and therefore removes the possibility of tampering with the fair ordering. The place of a transaction within the consensus order is calculated by the nodes as a network, not assigned by a leader. It reflects the order in which the transaction was received by all the nodes. Hedera Hashgraph guarantees fair order and allows clients to protect themselves against the compromises of fair access that plague all DLTs. And I love this final sentence here because this is exactly where the money is. It is because we can guarantee fair ordering that clients may be willing to pay extra fees to ensure they have that fair access. So let's say this information becomes publicly known. What is that going to do to Ethereum, Bitcoin? Because if I'm not, I'll say it like this. Ripple doesn't talk about it, and neither does Stellar. But in the documentation, I'm pretty sure they've addressed this issue as well. So, adding this fair ordering feature that is native to Hedera to the Hashgraph, this magnifies the DeFi and RWA protocols from a mechanical perspective because you're ensuring that the transaction is the right transaction without a shadow of a doubt. It is written in the code. Just like the Bitcoin halving is written into Bitcoin's code, this fair ordering is written into Hashgraph. So that means it's going to happen whether you like it or not. That's what I'm getting at here. So this is massive. Hedera's relationship with Chainlink, the merging of their technologies, it calls back to the original press release from Lehman when they changed the name from Swirlds Labs to Hashgraph, and where he talked about a world, connected worlds, shared worlds where DLTs integrate with each other seamlessly. And when we go back in time just a bit to May of 2021, and the day that Chainlink announced that they had become a member of Hedera's governing council, definitely had to double back, spin the block on this headline because there's a piece here that we missed. So starting right here, I believe I have it in two different places, but Chainlink will serve as a secure blockchain middleware for powering a wide variety of enterprise users, will be the preferred Oracle partner for the Hedera network. That is what we're starting to see. And will collaborate to provide Chainlink integration with the Hedera token service. So up until this point, because prior to today's news, we also had this in October, courtesy of the HBAR Foundation. They joined Chainlink Scale with Chainlink data feeds and CCIP being integrated on Hedera. This was back in October. This is where we saw the data feeds originally on the testnet. And with the announcement for today, we know that they are now on the mainnet. Chainlink CCIP, as also described in the press release for today, it will be a phased rollout plan for the CCIP running on Hedera. So up to this point, we have not heard anything specifically about the Hedera token service, because that is a different, it's all on Hedera, but that's a different offering that you can get with the DOT. You have the token service and you have the consensus service. You also have Hedera Guardian, and there's another one related in association with the whole space thing. Yeah, we won't talk about it. But between the token service, the consensus service, and Guardian, those are the three enterprise offerings that are native to the ledger. Chainlink integrating with Hedera's token service has not been highlighted yet. So there is still more to come. And if you take both press releases from the HBAR Foundation as well as Infinity.io, they both allude to this being a long-term plan with several initiatives. That was the second piece here. Yes, Chainlink and Hedera will implement a series of initiatives aimed at helping traditional centralized financial services and other organizations harness distributed computational trust. Linux Foundation Decentralized Trust. I'm sorry, it just popped up in my head. But the point I'm making, guys, now that Chainlink and Hedera are deepening their ties, this does open the door dramatically for decentralized finance on Hedera, a completely new world of decentralized finance. And then there is that last piece about Hedera's Token Studio, where it allows you to basically, it's like the stablecoin studio, come in and create your own tokens. To that point, it does make use of the Hedera token service. We may have spotted something there, folks. But with that, though, gotta remind you, you need to download your DHN Crypto Starter Kit. Listen, there's a bunch of new people coming into the space, and I don't think this rally is over. A lot of analysts are predicting 150,000, 180,000, 250 over the next 12 months. I personally don't believe that. I think we're going to slow down somewhere around 125K. And then even with that, it's going to take us 8 months to get there. All right. But either way, if you want to get involved in this space, in these 6 pages is everything that you're going to need. You'll get your 5 verticals of crypto, criteria to evaluate assets, links to various crypto ecosystems, as well as links to news analytics outlets that if you're the numbers type and you really want to get into the weeds, these will be perfect for you. Again, look out for the 2025 version of this. They will both work together, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, another way to support the channel, guys, you can work with our exchange partner, our digital asset management platform in the form of Uphold. Number one reason right now, well, in the case of Hedera, they did add Hedera to their vault, which is a self-custody option provided by Uphold. But it's the 5.25 on stable coins. The ROUSD stablecoin is getting ready. It has already launched. And in January, Uphold will be adding it to this offering, which means you'll be able to get 5.25% on your ROUSD holdings. You're not getting that anywhere else on this market. So you got to join Uphold and you got to take part in that rewards. Now, another way to support the channel, guys, you can check out the merch here. Use code word HUSTLE for 25% off your entire order. This is running for out the rest of the year. And check out this one, New Finance Magnate. What do you think, huh? Yeah, I kind of like that. I feel like that's, new financial system, new finance magnate, it'll catch on. With that though, y'all know what time it is. If that money is digital, so is the hustle.